Okay. So I'm going to call this meeting to order at 2:33. And first thing I'd like to do is add some, with your approval, add a few comments or discussion session right before we get to number 2. Is that okay? Mike and Mark? Okay.
Yes.
So the conversation will be we'll record the meetings. I've started going, and I'll send it to Jim when we're done. Okay. Secondly, along those lines, I was just looking for to see the minutes from the last meeting to go over them, and I couldn't find them on the website. So I will, because we're not effectively a committee, so we're not listed in listings of the committees. So we're on the calendar for when we have a meeting, and our agenda is posted on the calendar. But the minutes from the last meeting were not attached to that meeting. And I couldn't figure out how to see if the minutes were posted anywhere. If anyone has any input to that, I would appreciate it.
I'd give Lisa a call to find out what where she did with them. And they have to put in a requisition to whoever the webmaster is to make changes to the website and add us as a committee on the website. And so she's got to do some updates anyway this probably her because people were assigned to committees, so she's got to update all those documents. So she just may not realize it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but it was interesting to try and find it. Do we want to, so one of the other things that I didn't do is approve the minutes from the last meeting. Do you want to do that or wait till next meeting?
I read them. I thought they were accurate, so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
I wrote them. I thought they were accurate.
sounds like a line from Hamilton.
Okay.
I wrote this.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, right?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay, we're good on that. Okay. I wanted to stay on top of that. One other comment request from Seth, Mark, is if the 2 documents that we showed could be added to the minutes of the rules meeting, the charter description, and 2, the description of the the instructions for meeting managers, the things that we showed at the meeting. So I will send you the piece that, the rules. And Mike, if you would send a final version of your document to Mark so that they can be included with the rules meeting.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Glad to do it.
So that's the end. Anything else that anyone has any questions on sort of organizational structure or anything?
No,
Hearing none, I will move on. Okay. We've gotten great feedback from the rules meeting. People seemed really pleased with the work we're all doing and what we're doing. So if there are any other questions or things come up that either of you have heard or want to follow up on the rules meeting?
No, I got good feedback, and there are going to be some tweaks for the February meetings with who the meeting managers are going to be, but that's easy to take care of.
So, Mike, who is going to maintain that sheet? Kate, right? Or are you maintaining that sheet?
Kate's going to maintain it, but hopefully in the note it says let me know if there are any changes, and I've had a conversation with one committee chair because they want to do a training for one of their members. So I'm setting up a training for one of those members, and so as changes come in, I'll be checking in. Like I'm going to sit with Stacy for the first 15 minutes because she does her first F&B meeting tonight before I go to teach, just to make sure she's got everyone set up before she hits record. Then I can go to my meeting. So it's only 7 committees, and so it's and Cecil is on public works, so I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about planning, zoning, and housing, and so the rest of them are pretty much under control.
Okay, and Kate's the one that's going to watch the license requirements.
Yeah, she and whoever, if she's delegating any part of it too, I don't know, but yeah, she's maintaining the list.
Okay. And the one comment about, so I'm going to give an update on the next update I want to do is I talked to Seth about a bunch of things that came out of our meeting. And Okay, so he has the idea for the tech committee of having a member of our committee as ex officio on the steering committee. He wrote a note to Jamie and he's awaiting a response from Jamie. Okay. So that's,
Okay.
And they may discuss it tomorrow with the OPM meeting.
oh, okay. The next thing, are there a bunch of things that we ask questions of and that he is going, Seth is meeting with town council tomorrow. And one of them is the issue of attendance. Are there requirements, whether we do a roll call or can we, if there's any legal things that have to do with moving the attendance to electronic, okay, just so we cover our bases on that.
Yep. That was Seth, right?
Yeah, Seth's gonna talk to Wayne, okay, on these items. So one was if there are any legal things attached to, looking at moving the attendance. The second was the mailing of information. Can we opt out? That was another one. And he basically said Wayne looks at the governor's stuff, the state's information, and the town charter when a question is asked of him. So that's good because that's a lot more than Seth has access to for information on. And the third one was the longer term issue of voting electronically after, if people can attend effectively electronically after we go back into live meetings, and that's longer term. And a lot of that's going to be driven on what the governor says in those pronouncements. Right.
If you're going to talk to him again, one of the other things, and I can't remember if it was this meeting or another meeting, we talked about it, of perhaps for the February RTM meeting, that Wayne does a 10 to 15 minute FOIA, just so you don't forget, like spring training, here are the important rules to remember. Attached to the document I sent out, I had the update from Kate that she sent to all the chairs, but that doesn't mean it got to all the RTM members, and particularly the 20 new RTM members who don't know anything about FOIA or may know very little about FOIA requirements.
Okay.
And so you suggested Wayne would, rather than contacting the guy who does the presentations at the FOIA office, to ask Wayne to do it.
Okay. All right. I will get.
I can't remember if it was this meeting or the Rules Committee meeting. That I know I had the discussion on one of them.
Well, I know we talked about it, but I don't think we talked about it in rules. Anyway, I will. That's outside of our area, but I will, as I'm, keeping up to date with Seth, I will follow up on that. Okay. That's that. Any other than working on, working with the steering committee on, I guess, the technology assessment report. One of the comments made in the rules meeting was a concern of a priority to be the PCI. Or was that the billing, that there are multiple systems? And I was curious about what your interpretations were. Mine had more to do with the concern on security and overall support. Rather than any particular system as a priority, because especially now, security seems to be a really prevalent concern.
Yeah, Jack wants to collate the billing systems as a higher priority than that report.
Well, as a follow-up to the, I guess, did the report talk about, the report mentioned the different systems.
The report mentioned the different systems, but they didn't have it as a red. I think they had it as a yellow.
Oh, okay. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the red issues is enough to get started, because there are cybersecurity is certainly important, but I would again, it goes beyond what our mission is. But the billing systems, we should have one.
Yes, I totally agree that it should. But it's really the steering committee that's going to set the priorities.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Mark, any comment?
So I got distracted here. My son is calling on the other line here. He's on a highway in Texas. I got to step off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
That's more of an F&B and Parks and Rec issue, and all of the And no one on RTM uses the billing system, so it really doesn't.
That
It
doesn't affect us.
really doesn't affect. I don't think our charter at all.
Okay.
We hate getting those phone calls when your kids, when your child's on the side of the road in Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope it's okay. So on the voting, the next topic on our agenda is the clarification. You're back?
I'm back.
Everything okay?
Everything
Yeah.
okay?
Been broken down on the side of a highway for the past couple of hours, and I think they got someone to stop by and finally got the car started. So no big deal.
That's the answer we like, Mark.
It is, right? That's the best answer it could have been.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You're smiling. You're smiling again, so that's good.
yeah, I looked a little tense, didn't I?
Fairly
Okay, so-
fairly so. We just felt that Mike was just talking about the PCI thing. That is a billing system thing, and it's a responsibility of the steering committee. It's an issue for the town and for, I think you were talking about Parks and Rec. So it's just to keep but it's really a steering committee issue of what the priorities are and where they're putting their efforts. So I just wanted to keep that in line. Okay.
Your commission. I just want to get the word right. Commission or
Yeah.
committee? It's a steering
The
committee.
commission, it's the commissions really, because they're the ones, it's the assessors, all the offices that now currently take it, have a different standard for credit card transactions. Can they bring all of them together on one platform? But that's really not,
It's a
it doesn't
steering.
affect the RTM at all.
It's a steering committee. It's the steering committee.
Yeah, the steering committee, yeah.
That's what I was asking. People,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a
committee.
steering committee, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a commission.
Thank
Okay.
you.
It had to be elected.
So the next topic is clarification on needs for voting in the RTM and or committees for resolutions and other votes. Do you want to go through that again, or should we just, one of us just write up where we are and let's talk about it in our next meeting?
On what?
The voting. And I guess that's going to come out. You know what? It's going to come out in that grid we're doing, so we can just hold off on that one. And the next topic is, and I think I'm just going to leave these on the meeting so we touch base if there's anything, but the consideration requirements for distribution of physical meeting notices, that's subject to Wayne's getting an update from legal on that. And then we can go forward from there. Okay?
Yep.
Anything else we want to bring up before we want to go to the document that we want to work on?
Hang on, just catching up on the minutes here. I think I'm caught up. I think we're okay.
You're the best at doing real-time minutes.
Well, I don't know about that, but we got them. All right, I think I'm caught up. So where are we up to?
We're up to four, identify any other items for consideration.
Yep. Okay, I'm caught up.
Okay. Is there anything else that's come up that you want to add to the list for now? And then my sense on this is that we've got a lot of issues that are really present and current. And so that's where we're going to focus right now to see what we can do to help the RTM use technology. And then we can go into some of these other things.
And we could add to that once we get kind of the immediate needs addressed. Or
Yeah, because I do want to get added to the steering committee list somewhere of creating a town-wide opt-in email service, so that if a district wants to have a meeting, they can sort all the people in their district and send them an email rather than the town spending $3,000 and the committee members having to spend a lot of time going through the because when we did it, all the stamps, and you have to know how to narrow the mailing list of who are the people in what districts, and then put the stamps on the envelopes and fill the envelopes. And so, it's very time consuming when you can send an email just as efficiently and know what the open rate is, so you know how many people got it. But to be able for districts that, if they want to get a quick idea of where their constituents stand on issues, doing a Survey Monkey, we can't do that now.
right.
And if you look at all the opt-in email addresses that currently exist between Darien, TV79, Parks and Rec, I don't know if we'd have access to the code red. I don't know if that's an outside service or we maintain that, but we already have a lot of people who have opted in with their email to get updates from the town.
So is that something when we find out, when the steering committee for the technology, for the selectmen's steering committee, that we could add as a request, but now would be not the right time to do that? We can do that once the steering committee's in place, I think.
Yeah, once it's in place and that it fits somewhere on their agenda. If our goal is for them to consider technology that would aid the RTM to better engage with the voters, right now we don't have those capabilities, and they all exist and they're virtually for free.
Mhm. Okay, so we'll keep that in the back of our heads till we get
I
to.
mean, it's not an email address that we would an email list that we would necessarily maintain. The town would maintain it, but you just check a box to say, I want to send a message to all the District 5 members, or I want to send to the whole town, alerting them, sending out our agenda, our RTM agenda as an email.
Well, that might make Lisa's job a lot easier too.
Yeah. But it's, for the number of people who say, gee, I didn't know there was a meeting.
Yeah.
But I think there were 2 or 3 districts that had meetings a couple of years ago, and I don't know if we were the only ones that actually sent a postcard, but the ability exists to communicate with our constituents by email and not guess what they think.
Okay. All right, so let's, does anybody have anything else they want to bring up before we go into the detailed chart?
No.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen with a little bit of luck and bring up our chart. This one. Okay, so Mark, I'm going to type in as we talk. I think that's
Okay.
the way to do it, unless you want to type in as we talk.
Well, I'm doing the minutes sort of in
Okay.
parallel. Although there won't be much input into the minutes, I'm still catching up a bit. But if you got it on your screen, why don't you just type? We can all see it.
Yeah, and then I'll give it to you when I'm done, so you'll have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to duplicate what you do.
I don't know
Okay.
how to do is, and I should have done ahead of time, I'm sorry, is to make this a header. So it'll show up on all the pages.
Well, while you're doing that, what was the item? We
Hmm.
amended the agenda. What was the item we put right up front? We did the minutes first. Did we slide something in before we talked about?
A commentary or comments, I guess. I don't know. There's a bit of work for it.
Yeah.
Where we talked about recording and.
That's what it was. Yeah, recording. Yeah.
Oh, is that the point? Okay.
Yeah. I guess I'll describe that as commentary
Yeah.
regarding
That's
recording of meetings. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to put that in the proper order.
Okay. I'm not sure how to do this so that I keep our columns on top, but I should have done it in Excel. Actually, it's probably in Excel, but I don't want to take your time to find it. So let's try and see if I'm going to write down the headings and then I'll read them if we need. So the idea is to fill in, see that there's 2 things to make sure we understand how the different technologies are going to work and find out if we have any holes, things that we need to look into or document. Okay.
Okay.
And then have a to-do next to it. So the first step, set up meetings, RTM meetings, this is done, right? This is completed.
Yes.
Rules meetings. So this is really done for all, right? Well, caucuses should be the same set of rules.
Yeah, they are the same set of rules. The caucuses have to be warned.
Okay.
And in the instructions in the document we sent out, it had the procedures on, instead of having to send a Gene to get a room, now you just send a Kate to make sure you're using the meeting manager is using the right license. So it's the step's still there. It's just getting a license rather than a room.
So they go to Lisa for that? Or,
And Kate. But Kate's put in all the meetings that are scheduled, but I added to the
okay,
I added because one of the committees is canceling their meeting for the 18th. So, I reminded them to let Kate know when she cancels the meeting as well as Lisa, so that, it's taken off the menu.
okay. So, well, I'm going to, Mark, I'm going to clean it up before I send it to you.
Perfect.
Worry about this now. Okay, meeting software is it true for all of these? And maybe I just need another column that says for all.
Yeah, I don't know anything different that would be for the right now.
So this is Zoom, and this is go to meeting and Zoom.
Yeah, just copy it across, no?
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Well, I'll do it later. This just makes it easier for typing purposes. Attendance. So for the rules meeting, and this is,
The rules in the committee meetings and the caucuses, the clerk has responsibility to take the attendance.
okay,
The meeting manager has the responsibility for the RTM meetings.
oh, I see. So this is the clerk?
Well, but why is, let me just ask, why is this line item in particular, what does that have to do with technology? This is Robert's rules
No, but
protocol, isn't it?
It's just functionally who takes the rules, like Kate, to document that the rules committee meeting is done by registration, as opposed to the other where the clerk takes the attendance.
Okay, that's a distinction. I got it.
But also, we want to look to automate this. Right? I mean, this is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it is for the RTM meeting. It is pretty much automated now. I mean, she's got the list of everyone who's logged in.
Still doing a roll call. So that's what we have to resolve. Because that's what we're trying to move away from. So that's
Right.
there. Okay, right? And this one,
Like
these,
the roll call that's relied on, she actually takes attendance based on who's logged in at a particular moment in time. I know we talked about.
that's what we talked about. But so in order to do that, I think what we need on that is, I don't think that's not on. Seth was going to talk to Wayne about that, but also we need to just confirm what Kate sees and whether it can work for Kate. Mike, do you want to do that? Draft up something as a note to Kate, and then we can ask the questions. Or if you know all the stuff, then just document it and run it by Kate and say, is this accurate? Whichever way works best for you.
Yeah, attendance. Are we required to do a roll call, or can she use the those who registered for the meeting?
Well, really,
versus meeting registered.
I think it's who show up at the meeting, right? Because you can register and then not show up. So isn't it?
Right, but you're on and go to meeting on the right-hand side. It lists everyone who's currently in the call.
And does she have that? I mean, it's not. Yeah, I don't.
And that's how she was doing the initial, because that's why she asked people to put what district they were in before their name, so that she could do to see all the ones and see all the twos and not have to go down the list and say, okay, is this person in district 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? If they had the number before, it was much quicker for her to check off the list.
I thought the district numbering was so she could do the groups when we were breaking out, because that was the day we were doing the breakouts by district.
It could have been the reason too. I thought it was just so that she could see who was there easier.
I mean, because she can sort it by first name or last name, and I think she sees everything by first name. So I think that was part of the issue. So the clerk is. I have a copy. So this is Kate's questions. Okay. So then, because it would be good if we can figure out the roll call thing before the next RTM meeting. So if we can.
But you've got it on the Wayne list that
Right.
if there's some state that it's got to be a roll call versus who's logged in, if that is covered.
Yeah.
Do we have that freedom?
Because in the normal ones, the district chair marks everybody off.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, the other thing that came up is how does someone who come late be able to indicate that they were there? Kate has said, as I recall on past calls, don't worry, we have the registration of who logged in, and we have the record. So even though you weren't here for the roll call, I have that you have logged on, and we'll make the adjustment in the attendance.
Yeah, so we're good. So now the big one. So we've decided we're not going to look at voting software, right? I can take that off.
Yeah, I think you.
Mark, are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, well. Anyway. So for voting, in these, we're all gonna, the rules committee and committee meetings and caucuses, we're gonna, oh, well, you don't want to raise. So the issue is raising hands work. Raising hands except for RTM meetings
Correct.
and votes on about people, right? Well, no, because you can vote somebody onto a committee. That's not it. And how should we phrase that? What I mean by there is if you're.
And secret ballots.
Okay, and let them decide what a secret ballot is. Okay. So for RTM meetings, voting is right now, I think this is where we are, and do we want to do any more with it? If use polling, right? And if less than or 10% or if 10% or less gap, if 10% or less gap, then what we want to do a roll call vote?
Yes, I think we'd have to do a roll call vote.
Any other ideas?
To do a poll, you'd have to.
We already did a poll because you've done a poll.
Yeah, if it's close to 10%, it would be a roll call. You know, although the vote's pretty accurate whether you voted yes or no.
Yeah, I'm struggling with how is the polling taking place?
In the software?
You know, it's
right,
you use the polling mechanism in
Go to meeting.
Go to meeting.
and you just don't I'm bifurcating between Zoom and go to meeting. I know Zoom's got the anonymous button that you adjust whether you want it anonymous or not, and I just can't remember how go to meeting polling. If go to meeting doesn't have polling other than webinar. That's why.
Oh,
go to meeting. Go to meeting unless it's a webinar. Go to meeting does not have polling software.
So we use go to webinar.
Yeah, it only works in the webinar. And the way she did it, I thought gave good feedback during the meeting that it was very clear, and you got the check mark, and it was very clear that your vote had been registered.
Yep, I thought it was very good.
I thought it was excellent. That you knew your vote had been tabulated.
So what I struggled with when this was first introduced, and I'm struggling with it here now, is what's the reason for a 10% trigger
The reason,
for a roll call? I mean, I know it has to do with if there's parties on the call that may or may not be RTM members.
right, and so
And so I got that concept, but then I think back over the years where we had meetings where, you know, the whole back of the auditorium, it was filled, whether, you know, usually Board of Ed type of topics bring out lots and lots of folks. The 10% suggests that our recent experience where there's a handful of non-RTM members on the call or on the WebEx or WebGoToMeeting.
you know
And
what,
she might not catch that in the participants that they were not RTM members, that it was someone from the public who came in, and everyone gets the same vote.
Yep.
And so it was to know approximately how many members of the public, and just to make sure that it was the RTM members whose votes were tabulated and not members of the public
How about
inadvertently.
Right. So I guess what we're saying then, just to make sure I have it clear in my head, in one of those meetings where a lot of public's participating, it's expected that in admitting to the interactive part of the GoToMeeting, yes, maybe a few public may be logged in as voting members, but the 100 or 200 that ordinarily we would see in the back of the room would not be admitted to the meeting as interactive. Is that what I'm understanding?
I don't think you can control who's interactive. I think
Well, that's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
So if we had one of those meetings, let's say, where you had 400 participants or 300 participants, a 10% margin could easily be swamped.
So here I just added something, see if this works for you. And if a 10% or less gap or voting count is above 100, we get more voting members than the number of members in the RTM.
Yeah.
Would that do it? Or do you really do we really need to worry about we're at 90 and 10% or 10 are voting kind of thing? I mean, because Kate can't really see quick enough to know, well, she actually can't see how people voted until after.
Right. But then she gets a record of it.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of not knowing if some of those are not RTM members.
I think it's a good point. And I think, so Mike, is there any way that Kate knows how many people RTM members are actually on the?
I think everyone's on the same participant list. Again, I've never done a GoToMeeting webinar, so I really don't know what she sees. I'm comparing it to what I see on regular GoToMeeting, but again, GoToMeeting doesn't have polling capability, so I really don't know what a webinar administrator sees.
You know what I saw when I was watching this, it would have members and then presenters. So there was some classification of
I saw that.
Yeah.
So I think this is a question for Kate.
Yeah.
To find out whether she can tell how many, if people are in the attendance, if she can tell whether people are registered. Well, she doesn't know. I don't know. I think it's a question for Kate, whether we want Kate to go to our next meeting or just ask her.
Yeah, we may need to do that because I don't think we may not know the answer here. What I'm wondering though is we step up to attendance in the roll call. If the roll call is accurate, and in that, if at the time of the roll call we know that the roll call and the attendance reflects RTM members, and let's say 90 are present, the 10% works because then we have a frame of reference.
Right.
But if the roll call, if we're unable to tell at the time of the vote,
so how about if
what the roll call was?
When do we need a roll call for a vote? Under what circumstances do we need a roll call for a vote?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a good point. It's more than the 10%. There are options other than 10% variance. And that's what we're going to do. And probably has to do with how many people are in the meeting.
Yeah. And I don't think any of us on this call know what Kate sees to know in a big meeting. I mean, we haven't had one yet, but if we had a big meeting of 400 people,
I
Oh,
can
okay.
maybe to save her time, get Cecil to come to one of our next meetings because he's there with her. And so he knows what she sees.
Yeah, he may know the answer. That's a good point. Maybe we just do that.
To spare her time.
Okay, how about,
Yeah.
so I've rephrased it, let's say, if 10% or less gap or voting count of meeting members is more than roll call? Well, this needs to be edited, but, so we'll figure that out, but that's basically what we're saying. And for the rest of them, it's raising hands except RTM meetings, and so it's raising hands except for RTM meetings and secret ballots. And what are they supposed to do for secret ballots? They're supposed to do polling, right?
I think that's what we said.
You know, on Zoom, you know, the meeting manager can click the anonymous button, but almost everyone, there's only one meeting that's doing Zoom. You're the only meeting that's doing Zoom
And
right
we don't,
now among the standing committees.
yeah. And the other way, or you could do chat, right? Or chat.
You could send
Or chat to a third party.
you could send a chat not to everyone but to one person on who you vote for.
Yeah.
So each person could send, if you were the chair of the committee, each person could send you a confidential chat on who you voted for.
And I know it happened in one of the committees where there was a vote for one of the officers of the committee, and Cecil was the person who everybody sent the chat information to.
Yeah, you could do it that way too.
Okay, so I think that's good. I think we got this.
Yeah, use chat as for the secret ballot for the committees.
And polling for secret ballot, or
Yeah, for the
and polling for secret ballot or chat to a third party, depending on what we want to do.
right.
Okay, does that work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, voting for people positions on issues. I think we did that.
Yeah.
That's the same as the one above. Okay, so we'll get rid of this. I'm just going to gray it out now. Okay, public access and attendance. That's it's required for all, right?
I don't know why because of the bandwidth, although now they upgraded it last week. I heard Town Hall upgraded their wireless system, but we couldn't get a reliable signal out of the auditorium so that we could have done the state of the town on GoToMeeting because they wanted to be at the rostrum. And that's why we sent everyone to Darien TV 79 or to the Darien TV 79 live YouTube page. But at that meeting, the public was not allowed to speak. So that's how we were able to switch to take away the public's ability to speak at the state of the. So I don't know why at the state of the town, the public was not allowed to speak.
Well, neither were we.
They are at. Pardon me.
Neither were we. There were no questions.
Nobody was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I understood from when we had that pre-meeting that for some reason that meeting the public there was not a requirement for any comment.
Right, but they're public access speaking. So the only place. So it's really under the control of the meeting manager, right?
Yes.
Would be a good way to put it?
Yes.
Okay, and that's true of all the meetings. And then, whether you consider Seth the meeting manager or not, whatever, we'll let you all settle that.
Well, in theory, it's
Moderator.
It's under the in the standing committees. It's the meeting manager. And the ones that I've done, I've informed the meeting manager. I've informed the chair if someone from the public had a comment or that someone from the public was looking to be recognized. So the chair still recognizes the public wanting to speak with the help of the meeting manager, who's supposed to be able to look at all the tiles and so the meeting manager just might not see it. They're there to assist the chair in seeing who wants to speak.
Okay. So it's under the control of the chair and meeting manager.
And the control of the chair with the assist of the meeting manager.
Okay. I think we lost Mark again. Mike, are you ever available in the evenings?
Not most evenings, but it depends on the week. Right now I'm tied up 3 nights every week.
Because it's probably easier for Mark to do it during an evening or a weekend, is my guess.
Yeah, and I can do weekends.
Oh, you can do weekends?
Yeah, I can do weekends.
Okay.
And since Clemson isn't playing anymore, Mark can do weekends.
I got a lot of time on the weekends.
Mark was just checking to see if there was a change in the Clemson Ohio State score, but no, it was the same.
It was real. It wasn't a bad dream.
We were just talking about setting it up so that you're not on, you have a little more flexibility. The middle of the day, I would assume, is a tough time for
Yeah, I know. You see me jumping around here and there.
Yeah. So we'll try and do that for the next meeting.
Thank you.
The public access voting, none. They have no access to vote. Document procedures.
Screen share. Yeah, screen share.
Screen share.
Yeah.
But ongoing. We're going to document the procedures as we go. Anything we can think of, right?
Oh, I thought you meant how to share documents at the meetings.
Oh, no, to do what you did, Mike, the document for the meeting managers, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I view that as a really good thing that we can do to make sure
Okay.
that it's documented and put in place. And I'm just going to put and reviewed by appropriate people.
Document procedures. What are we saying?
Yeah, I'm going to add to that document chat responsibilities for the meeting manager and pointing out who wants to be recognized. That's
Okay.
not in there.
Okay, that sounds great. So we only have a couple more. Support needed. So we need an organizer, chat notes, and hands up or down. Well, I think I would rephrase this. You have the chairperson of the meeting, right? The meeting manager, that's what we're calling them. That does technology.
Yeah. That's the term that Kate used. I'd always used organizer, but she put meeting manager, so I switched to meeting manager.
The chairperson, you have the meeting manager, and somebody for the chat, right? Or
no, the meeting manager would control the chat.
Okay. So do we need any more support? That's effectively what we have for each of the meetings, right? And is there any way that we need more technology to support any of these people? Any open issues revolving?
No, it's other than the RTM meeting, all the meetings are small enough that people raising their hand can be seen. Larger meetings, like on the Darien Men's Association, we had 100 people on the meeting today. And so they insist on they have to use the raised hands because people are on 4 different sheets. None of the standing committees are that large that you've got to go to a second screen and someone can't see someone raising their hand to be recognized. But on the RTM, you have to use the raised hand function. And that has been a challenge. People seem to do better last time, but in earlier meetings that I heard that as a challenge that people couldn't find, because it's different on an iPhone than it is on a computer versus an Android phone on where the raised hand function is on GoToMeeting. So like Kate said, I can't remember what color she said, but on my phone, it was a different color and you had to look at a different place. So, that's the problem with multiple devices to say where to look, because depending on the device, it could be it may look different.
Okay. So we think we've got this move. There's nothing more we need to do on this. Is that an accurate statement?
No.
Okay.
I'm just going to write up the additional chat responsibilities for the documentation.
Great. Okay. As far as training goes,
Right now, Cecil has was training everyone, and we have 3 Darien TV 79 people trained, and so Darien TV 79 will provide training to any member of a committee who wants to be the meeting manager.
so is this accurate?
79 will train, will provide training for media managers or provide a meeting manager.
Okay. Okay, and that cuts across everything, right?
Yes.
Okay. Robert's Rules and Governor's issuances. The moderators really isn't the moderator our king?
Yeah. Yeah. And then in the document that I sent out to all the committee heads, and then it had Kate's annual update about running a meeting. So it didn't have all of Robert's rules in there, but it had some basics.
So is that different than what the material they sent to that we received as an RTM member at the very beginning, or is that included in there?
It was just more robust.
Okay, so it sounds like this ties back to your statement about February to have a discussion on FOI, just to bring it to everybody's attention.
I mean, just because everybody needs reminders.
Okay, so that's the point of that.
And new people come in,
And not everybody reads it just because we sent it out.
that's correct too.
All of us not being those people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's the end of these topics. Is there anything else we can think of? So we're really focusing on the attendance and clarifying some of the voting and stuff.
Right, and I'll draft something tomorrow and I'll send to you to take a look at before I send it to Kate.
Okay. And so that's our goal. I mean, I would like to see if we could have the attendance thing, if we can, before the next RTM meeting, or do we need to have it go through rules before we do that? I guess we should go through rules. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't know why rules. All they care about is getting the accurate vote.
What was the question? I didn't follow the question. What were you asking?
We're working on how we're going to do attendance.
Yep.
We can do it electronically and avoid the roll call. That's our.
Yep.
If we come up a way to do that, should we run it by rules before we try and put it in place, or should we just try and put it? Obviously, Seth gets to decide that. That's not our decision anyway. He's moderator, so he controls it. But maybe that's just a question for Seth. Here, this is what we've come up with. This is the way we think it could work. How do you want to implement it? Okay.
Right. He may choose to present it to rules. He may not.
Okay. Okay.
Other than the attendance, the 2 things we're voting on at the next RTM meeting are very controversial.
Are not controversial.
Yeah, we just have the 2, the appointment and the accepting the COVID.
Right. So the rule on, I think the discussion about voting and that discussion we had earlier, that should go to the rules committee and we can do it at the next one. This one, the GoToWebinar with the 10% or less or a voting count of meeting member, we should have that discussion because I think we added some good things. Thank you, Mark, to the thinking process on that. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
When do you want to meet again, or should I find out when Seth gets some answers so next, really the things we want to talk about again are the attendance and any information that Seth gives us, right?
Yeah, maybe because of that, because it's dependent on the feedback. When we hear that Seth has it,
Yeah.
just schedule then, 3 days and we'll do it.
Yeah,
It's-
we just need one day.
Oh, 1 day, so it's easy then, instead of putting something on.
But we'll do email to figure out our schedule and then just announce the meeting and go from there. Does that make sense?
That
Yeah.
sounds good.
Okay. So I would like, if something's going to be in place for next week, for the week after, for the RTM meeting, like the attendance, then we definitely do it. But we probably should touch base next week, but let's see the timing and wait till we get some answers before we use our time. Okay?
Sure. Hey, and I know we talked about doing it on a weekend. If we chose a weekday, maybe lunchtime might be better. I tend to try to block out 12 to 1. If that would work.
That's good for me. 12 to 1 is good for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. My bank actually has volunteer days or volunteer hours. So that's what I'm using. But that doesn't stop people who I was talking to 15 minutes ago from calling me because they don't realize I'm out on quote volunteer hour.
Well, I pay for either weekend or 12 to 1, whichever, if you're comfortable
Okay.
with 12 to 1.
Yeah, yeah, but we can make either work. Let's see when it is.
Okay.
And we'll just do it.
Yeah, right now the 22nd is, but I've got the new meet. I'm available at noon on the 20th and the 22nd.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wait and see what.
And if we don't do that,
And the 19th, 20th, and 22nd, I'm available at noon.
okay. And if that doesn't work and we need to be done before the RTM meeting, then we'll meet over the weekend. Okay?
Yeah, weekends fine.
Okay.
With respect to these minutes, I will sit on them. Normally I send them out right after the meeting so I can attach this grid.
Yeah.
Is that all I'm attaching, Lois?
Yes. The other thing that Mike and I need to send you the information that we presented to the Rules Committee, and
Yep.
you need to attach those to the Rules Committee minutes.
And I'll do that. And I'll do that as soon as I get off
Grid
this
as a-
meeting.
Well, I'm attaching that information and the grid as it stood at that point in time. I think
No,
you
the
presented.
grid wasn't part of that meeting.
What was that?
No, the grid
You're
wasn't shown.
right,
Just
the other-
the agenda was shown.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
The
All
agenda,
right. So,
yeah, the overall charter, and then Mike's whole discussion for meeting managers.
okay. And I have an edit to the minutes, another set of minutes to submit. So I'll do it all at once when I get that information from you.
Okay?
Okay.
We're good?
We're good.
And it's 3:26.